Welcome to RE Uncut. Our daily shows are supported by Printforce, Shore Agents, Rock End and CoreLogic.
Hello once again and welcome to the show. My guest this week is Doug Driscoll from Star Partners, and we're talking about the new environment, the end game. What's it going to be like when we come through this crisis? As we've said a number of times this week already, we will come through it. Doug Driscoll is going to join me today as we talk about how to be productive at home, this new office that we're all working in. Doug joins me in just a moment.
Outsourcing will dramatically improve your productivity and profitability. Shore Agents have created a staffing solution to provide great staff who can perform duties in property management, sales, marketing and administration, and at a fraction of the cost, giving you and the team more time to spend on the dollar productive tasks. With rising costs and slowing revenue, the focus must be on value for money. Check it out, shoreagents.com.
Hello once again to Doug Driscoll from Star Partners. Doug, firstly, welcome and good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Yeah, good. I've got to say, I don't think I've ever seen as many photographs on Facebook of people saying, have a look at my new work environment, and it's a photograph of a backyard. So, you know, things have certainly changed, but it brings with it a lot of challenges, doesn't it? A need for a lot more discipline in what we do, Doug.
It does. I mean, what a difference a week or a month makes. It's crazy, isn't it? I think it's fair to say none of us saw this coming, but yes, absolutely. I think the vast majority of the workforce are now working from home, and I think it's probably important from straight off the bat to make that distinction. That's exactly where we should be working. Obviously, the government have been clear on that, and the majority should be operating from home and not the office, unless, of course, our role obviously necessitates, obviously an office environment, of course. But that really is probably only 5% of our industry. But yeah, it's certainly a challenge to adapt. I think the first thing that people need to do really is probably assess what's actually practical, realistic and achievable from home. Because if you've got like a partner or family, you really need to kind of, I suppose, establish some firm ground rules and then be able to stick to them. In fact, even if you haven't got a partner or family, it's very important to set your own ground rules and stick to them. If you've got your own kind of little workspace, that's obviously ideal. One of the other things you need to do there is obviously make sure that it's safe and compliant. Don't forget, for those business owners watching this, that it is your responsibility that your employees' workspace at home even is safe and compliant. If we didn't have enough things to worry about, well, that's another one to add to the list. But again, it's very, very important. But I suppose getting into the nitty gritty of working from home, the first thing I'd probably start with is the ability to get up, dress up and show up. I mean, it sounds pretty bloody obvious, but it's amazing how easily you can turn into a slob from working from home. Now, I've done it on and off kind of most of my working life, so I'm used to it, but there are others who are. The first thing you need to do, in my opinion, is set the alarm every single day and actually do everything you would normally do from the alarm going off to the point when you'd actually normally then leave through the front door to go to the office. So that is, getting up, getting changed, have your transformed pajamas, have a shave, have a shower, morning exercise, yoga, whatever your morning routine is, you need to continue doing that as if it's kind of business as normal. For those leaders, again, that are watching this, one of the things that I would encourage you to do is, obviously, you should be having daily check-ins with all your staff anyway. Facilitate your morning Skype or Zoom session at about 9 a.m. every morning, all right? Because then everybody then is forced to be accountable to the business, but also accountable to themselves and their own self-care and standards of self-grooming, of course. So it's easy to become a slob, but if you maintain that routine, you'll be able to get around that. The other one, I guess, then is around kind of taking breaks because you'll get cabin fever otherwise. You'll be literally stuck in the house pretty much all day. So take breaks, get out, stretch your legs, get some fresh air, try to do your 10,000 steps every day. Park those excuses because sometimes they'll go, oh, no, it's raining or whatever. You've all got umbrellas. It's really, really important for your own sanity that you do get out and about and take those breaks. The other thing as well is, it's a lonely place sometimes, especially if you're there on your own. So communicate with others. Those kind of conversations you typically have in the office around the water cooler. I don't know now what the virtual equivalent to that is, but you need to be FaceTiming colleagues and friends and stuff, again, just for your own sanity more than anything else. And you will inevitably find yourself with a bit more time on your hands. So use that time very widely. Don't waste it, and avoid distraction. So I wouldn't be looking at Instagram every 5 minutes. I would be taking that opportunity to self-improve, self-develop, go onto YouTube, try to learn and try to better yourself. But it is a challenge, but I think together we can overcome this. But again, it's about checking in every so often. And for those leaders, that's important. It's not checking up on people, it's checking in on people.
Yeah, and when you do that check-in too, it's just a point I wanted to raise, and I've spoken to quite a few agents just in the last couple of weeks. And a number of them have got challenges because we've got to remember too that the kids are no longer in school. They're staying at home. So that, brings a whole new layer of responsibility on the person who's the head of the household, in this case probably the real estate agent. So homeschooling is something that a lot of people are having to contend with too. So when you're talking to your people, ask them what they're doing about that so you have an understanding. You might have to cut them a bit of slack with that 9 o'clock meeting you're talking about too, because we've all got to become very adaptable here, Doug.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I think the second thing I said was around assessing the actual practicality and how realistic some of these things are. I don't have children, so it's very easy for me to sit here and say these things, but you've got to work around your own environment and your own circumstances. And I think for the leaders, look, if it is possible to have that kind of relatively early morning conference call or webinar, then so be it. But again, it's about that key word, adaptability. And I certainly think that we can make this work. We just need to be fluid and obviously conscious of people's own home environments and situations and circumstances.
One of the things I was going to ask you about too in working from home is the number of tools that are available for us now to do that through communication, like Skype. We're on Skype now. But we need to understand too, there are some limitations even to that, because as you probably noticed in this episode, sometimes the signal's not as strong as it should be. If you're watching, some of the major networks, television networks now, they're using a lot of Skype, and you'll find that the signal is not as strong as it normally is because there's more people using the bandwidth. But technology's not always the answer, is it? You've got to be very careful when you use these things.
Oh, definitely. And as I've always said, you should use technology as a servant and not let it become your master. We can't become over reliant. Having said that, we're forced into a corner on this. So, we've got everything crossed that we can still connect with each other as best as possible.
Very good, Doug. Thank you very much for your time. Doug Driscoll will be back with me again tomorrow. We're going to talk about who should you listen to? How do you filter all the noise? Doug Driscoll from Star Partners. Thanks for your time, Doug. Talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Kevin.
The daily RE Uncut shows are supported by Printforce, Shore Agents, Rock End and CoreLogic. RE Uncut is one of the anchor shows at retplus.com, the home of property.